Good morning. Good morning to anybody who's up right now at 7 o'clock on June 1st. We have made it to June 1st after what I consider to be a really trying month of May. And we have, over this last weekend, just as a country, been experiencing a great deal of unrest, a great deal of anger and the expression of that anger, and rightfully so. And I'm just thinking, what do I have to share in the face of all of this? And I really find value, I guess, in sharing what is personal to me. And so today, I figured I would share with you my Sankalpa, which the word Sankalpa, it roughly translates to intention or resolve. But it doesn't mean like a short-term intention. It doesn't mean like I intend to do this today or tomorrow or this week. It doesn't mean anything small. It means something really big, this word Sankalpa. And so a number of years ago when I moved here to Cleveland, right before I opened Abhaya Yoga, I took an 8-week-long Yoga Nidra series during which we were kind of encouraged to find our Sankalpa, which is your overarching life intention. This idea that we can have one idea to kind of be our guiding light through all. So what I came up with during that time, my intention, my Sankalpa, was I choose to live with courage. And man, has that intention brought me to some very interesting places and through some very difficult times. And I'm thinking that, if anything, what we all need right now is a little bit of courage, a little bit of knowing that we can do the right thing. We can make those choices, okay, that require courage, that require us to be strong. So why don't we practice a little bit of seated meditation this morning, maybe focusing in on those words as a mantra, but also using Abhaya, Hridaya, Mudra, which is our hand gesture for the day. And it's a little bit of a complicated hand gesture. All right, so Abhaya Hridaya Mudra is fearless heart mudra. Fearless heart mudra, it is this idea that deep down in the center of our heart, or in the center of our kind of like emotional knowing, we have an unmovable place. We have a place that can remain strong and steady through all of the ups and the downs, through all of the fear. Even when we're full of joy, this place within us, this Abhaya Hridaya, this fearless heart, this tiny seed stays steady. Okay, it is unmovable. So practicing this mudra can help maybe to remind us a little bit of that fearless heart. And let's get started by just crossing your arms, your wrists, one in front of the other, like the letter X. And then we're going to take our pinkies and we're going to interlace our pinkies. And then we're going to interlace our ring fingers, and we're going to leave the middle finger loose, but then we're going to interlace the index finger, and then we're going to hook the middle finger pad and the thumb pad up to each other, like this. Okay, and let's talk through that one more time because it is a little confusing. Let's cross the wrists like the letter X. We're going to hook the pinkies. We're going to hook the ring fingers too. We're going to leave those middle fingers out, and then we're going to hook the index fingers and connect the thumb and the middle finger to each other. So sitting here with your hands in this really complicated shape, really complicated shape, and this is a reminder that tapping into that fearless heart is not easy. It is not easy. It can require so much of us, to not be pulled in one direction or the other, to not be made afraid by what's going on around us. Okay, this is a reminder that even if it's challenging, even if it feels impossible, that we can find that little seed within ourselves that is unmovable, that is clear, that is fearless and full of courage. Okay. So sitting up nice and tall. This morning I'm leaning into my couch. Maybe you are too. Let's just spend a little bit of time here with our breath and with this hand gesture. Good. Allowing the eyes to close if that feels right to you. And if it doesn't, you might just look down at your hands and sort of admire how complicated this hand gesture or mudra is. Good. And I think sometimes there's this tendency in all of the mudras to really be forceful with the shape of the hands or grippy. So see if you can loosen up just a little bit on the hands while still maintaining the shape. And then notice your breathing. Notice your breathing. Does your breathing feel kind of choppy this morning? Does it feel kind of shallow, or are things flowing freely? And how is it in your mind this morning? How do things feel there? Do your thoughts feel rushed, tense? Do they feel relaxed, spacious? Just settling in for a little while here to observe yourself. Around this seed within our hearts, this fearless center, there's always a swirl, right? A swirl of our outer world, a swirl of our thoughts. So just for a moment, observing that buzzing, observing that swirling of thoughts. One thing that I really appreciate about a meditation practice is that it doesn't necessarily invite us to seek answers. It just allows us to be present with what is. It gives us the time and space to really feel and breathe. So this time, this space is yours. It is yours to observe the swirl of emotion, to kind of stand back a little bit, or even better, to stand within that fearless part of yourself, to observe everything that's going on around you. Good. Maybe just another few breaths with your hands just like this. Wonderful. And then let's release the hands out of this. And that's a pretty intense mudra. So maybe press your knuckles into each other for a moment. We're going to take that same mudra on the other side. So just a moment here to kind of wiggle those fingers around. Good. Right, and then let's cross the other wrist in front, whichever one you haven't yet done. And then we're going to hook those pinkies. We're going to hook those ring fingers, and then the index fingers too, and then connect your thumb and middle finger to each other. Abhaya, Hridaya, Mudra on the other side. And let's settle in here for about 20 deep breaths. And this time, see if you can begin to make your way, out of the swirl of things, imagining all of the thoughts that are going through your mind, all of the events that have led to those thoughts as sort of this like flowing and moving whirlpool, right? And rather than being spun around, we choose instead to go down deep into the center of things. We choose to go down deep, in this case, into the center of our heart, bringing your attention there. Really notice sensation, the center of the chest and at that space in between your shoulder blades. So front and back. And then notice the space around your heart side to side. And breathing deeply. And remembering also that this is a practice of expanding our hearts a little bit. And if we can start to sit with all that's going on within us, then we can also begin to sit with the pain of other people and with all the difficulties of our world with a sense of courage and not fear. As you sit here and breathe, you might choose to use the mantra. You might say to yourself, I choose to live with courage, to yourself on the in-breath and the out-breath. Kind of setting the soundtrack for your day, your week, maybe the month of June. I choose to live with courage. Good, and as you feel ready, if your eyes are closed, begin to open them up again, blink them open, and just take in the room around you. And if you're sitting by a window, take in the world outside of that window. I choose to live with courage, with yourself and with others. All right, when you are ready, unwind those hands. Give them a little squeeze. Maybe you want to even interlace those fingers and move the wrists around a touch just to open up those energy channels of the heart, of the lungs, those channels that run down our arms into the hands, those channels that help us to process grief, to process emotion. Good. A few more moments. And we'll press those hands forward, stretching through the palms. And then bring our hands to our heart. Thank you all so much for joining me this morning. I hope that today brings you some joy in some way or another. And rest when you can. Okay. I'll see you all soon Friday morning for some yin and meditation at 7 a.m. All right. Have a fantastic day, everybody. Bye.